All right, let's go back to Genesis 1:14 now.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. So the sun and the moon were given for signs and days and seasons as well as years. So let's get the article real quick. Yep. Let's deal with seasons.
Season. A season is a period of the year that is distinguished by special climate conditions. Mm-hmm. Seasons are largely due to factors surrounding the Earth's tilted axis as it revolves around the sun.
Wait, the Earth's tilted axis as it revolves around what?
Around the sun.
So now, the white man, the devil, says the Earth, the season, is a direct result of the Earth's tilted axis as it revolves around the sun. That's called heliocentric. The Earth's going around the sun's axis. Or they say that the Earth, the sun, is a center of the universe, and everything revolves around the sun, the planet as well as the stars within the solar system. Now, we're going to stop there, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth into that. We're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with that in a second. Keep going.
Summer and southern. You want me to read that?
Keep going. We're going to deal with that later.
Summer in northern hemisphere, winter in southern hemisphere. Seasons. Winter in northern hemisphere, summer in southern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm. Go on. Now go down.
A season is a period of the year that is distinguished by special climate conditions. The 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter, follow one another regularly. Each has its own light, temperature, and weather patterns that repeat yearly.
Go on.
In the northern hemisphere, winter generally begins on December 21st or 22nd. Mm-hmm. This is the winter solstice, the day of the year with the shortest period of daylight. Summer begins on June 20th or 21st, the summer solstice, which has the most daylight of any day in the year.
So notice that it says winter solstice, solstice meaning based upon the sun. So there's a rotation acts on they say the earth is tilted, and the reason why we have 4 seasons because the earth is tilted, and certain parts of the earth receives a specific amount of sunlight based upon its axis around the sun, but that's not true. The earth orbits within its own axis as the sun rotates around the earth. And that's why we have season. Actually, everything's backwards. So rather than the earth revolving around the sun, yes, the earth is orbiting within its own axis, and that's why we have different seasons throughout the year as the sun makes its orbit around it, or the earth tilts, because they said the earth is rotating, constantly rotating. Now go on.
The seasons in the northern hemisphere are the opposite of those in the southern hemisphere. This means that in Argentina and Australia, winter begins in June. Mm-hmm. The winter solstice in the southern hemisphere is June 20th or 21st, while the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, is December 21st or 22nd.
So that's all 4 seasons, right? All right, go to order.
Mm-hmm. Go back up. Spring and fall or autumn begin on equinoxes, days that have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. The vernal or spring equinox falls on March 20th or 21st, and the autumnal equinox is on September 22nd or 23rd.
Now let's go to Genesis chapter 8, verse 22. So the winter solstice, the summer solstice, summer solstice, then you have the spring equinox, as well as the fall equinox. All is based upon the rotation, the earth rotating within its own axis, as well as the sun orbiting around the earth. Go on, read that.
Genesis chapter 8, verse 22. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease.
Read that again.
While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat.
So while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest. What is seed time? Springtime. That's when you start planting your seeds. Seed time and harvest. What is harvest time? What's harvest time? Fall. Good.
And cold and heat.
What's the cold, brother? Winter. And what is the heat? Summer. How many seasons are those? 4. So showing the 4 seasons. Go on.
And summer and winter and day and night shall not cease.
So summer and winter, day and night. So it should not cease. Now give me the picture. Yep. Now, so do you have the old picture? Can you pull up the old picture too? To show you, we have to change everything around. Give me that. You're turning things upside down. Shall be esteemed as potter's clay.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay.
So the Bible says, surely your turning of things upside down. What did they turn upside down? Can you give me that now? The picture of the earth orbiting the sun's axis. Go on.
Surely the turning of things your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay.
So Esau, the white man, when he came in power during the Renaissance, everything that was did, everything that we knew, the information, the knowledge that we knew of, they turned everything upside down. They flipped it based upon the scientific theories, the hypothesis, and they came up to the conclusion that this is it. That's why it says, who opposes? You got that picture? I want to show you what they turned upside down. So originally, this is called geocentric. When the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything within the solar system orbited the earth's axis.
Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not?
Can you help them out? Go on.
Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field?
So showing you that their turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. What did they turn upside down? Rather than the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets orbiting the earth's axis, you have something called heliocentric that was created during the Renaissance period, a scientific theory that became scientific evident facts today. Now, everything, the center of the universe being the sun. Does that make sense? That where the human being life force is on the earth, but everything evolves around the sun, one star, but it's no life form. So it says, your turn of things shall be esteemed. So this is, you got it? All right. So your turning of things upside down should be esteemed as the potter's clay. So you notice how the earth is orbiting the sun's, or the earth is actually, because, let me get it real quick. So it says the earth's orbit around the sun takes about, they said, around approximately 365 days out of the year, which gives us our 4 seasons. So they say, that scientists will say that the earth tilts, I think it's like at a 26.5 or 4 degree axis. And as it rotates around the sun and the tilting of the earth, it creates the different seasons. You have the vernal equinox, which is March 21st, which we base our Passover off of. Around that time period, you have the winter equinox. You have the autumn equinox. You have the summer solstice. So you have the 4 seasons based upon, scientists say, based upon the orbiting of the earth around the sun within a full cycle of the year, which gives us a 4th season. Now. Let's see. Do I want to go to the scriptures right now on that? I want to get more proof, evidence. Now get the other picture. So now this one says, your turn of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. Now, this is what God says. Now, is that scriptural? We're going to go forth. We're going to go based upon this, this diagram of the sun orbiting the earth's axis in a matter of 365 or I think they said it's about 360 days out of the year, or 365. I'm not exactly sure. But the sun, the moon, the stars actually orbit the earth's axis. Get me now. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4.
Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever.
But the earth abideth forever. Read.
The sun also ariseth.
The sun also ariseth. That's why you have nighttime. When the sun goes down, sunrise, sunset. So the sun rises to give us light by day. Go on.
And the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he rose.
And his sun hasteth in his place where he rose. Wait a minute. It says the sun what?
The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down.
It goes down, read.
And hasteth.
So we already got the rising, right? And going down. Because why does the sun rise and go down? Because think about it. I said that the sun, it orbits around the earth's axis. So the sun is doing this. So, but the earth is tilting. So the earth is orbiting within its own, the earth is constantly rotating within its own axis as the sun is going around within 360 to 365 days out of the year. So go on.
And hasteth to his place.
And the sun hasteth to its place. Meaning the sun is orbiting, it's hastening to its place. Go on. So meaning it's running to its place, read.
Where he rose.
Where he rose. Now get me 1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 34. Okay.
1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 34. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth, high is the heaven, swift is the sun in his course.
That's why it says he hasteth in his place. Swift is the sun in his course, around its orbit. Go on.
For he compasseth the heavens round about.
Wait, the sun does what?
Compasseth the heavens round about.
The sun compasseth the heavens, the space round about. Round about what? Round about the earth. Go on.
And fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
In what?
In one day.
And it fetcheth his course again in his place in one day. In one day. Get me that. Sirach chapter 43. Verse 1.
Sirach chapter 43, verse 1. And actually pull the picture again. The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, with his glorious show, the sun when it appeareth, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High.
Go on.
At noon it parcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? A man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors, and sending forth bright beams, it dimmeth the eyes. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment it runneth hastily.
At his commandment does what?
It runneth hastily.
At God's commandment, the sun runneth hastily, runneth in its course, and it goes about it in a day's period of time. That's all you have. How many hours in a day? 24 hours in a day. Now, pull up the video. Saudi cleric says the sun rotates around the earth.
Well, we've had some odd pronouncements coming out of Saudi Arabia recently. Fatwas against snowmen springs to mind. The fact that Western women don't care if they get raped simply because they're driving is another classic Saudi pronouncement. But this latest one from a Saudi cleric seems to almost pose more questions, or pose as many questions as it seems to answer. And here's why. He has said in a recent video that the earth doesn't move. The earth is stationary, and rather than the earth revolving around the sun revolves around the earth. Let's take a look at the video and then talk about how he is really seeking to unwind 500 years of scientific thinking.
أولاً نحن الآن في أين؟
How many years did he say? 500 years of what? Scientific data. How long is 500 years ago? 14? What is it? 1450s or so? The 1400s. The Renaissance period. when Esau rose back up in power. 500 years of scientific data. That's why they call it the Enlightenment period. Go on.
نذهب إلى مطار الشارقة. نريد أن نذهب إلى الصين بالطيارة.
Wait, go back.
واضح؟
A little bit. When he starts talking. Play.
أولا
Yeah, read.
نحن الآن في أين؟
Where are we now?
نذهب إلى مطار الشارقة.
We go to
نريد أن نذهب
Sharjah
إلى الصين.
Airport to travel to
طيارة.
China. By plane.
واضح؟
Clear?
ركزوا معي.
I focus with me.
هذه الأرض. إذا قلتم
This
أنها
is
تدور.
Earth. If you
إذا
say that
خرجنا
it
من مطار
rotates,
الشارقة
if we leave Sharjah
برحلة
Airport on
دولية إلى
international
الصين.
flight to China,
الأرض تدور صح؟
the Earth
طيب
is
لو وقفت
rotating, right?
الطائرة في السماء.
So if the plane
أليست
stops
الصين
still in
تأتي؟
the air, wouldn't China be coming
ولا لا؟
towards it? True or
تدور
not?
تأتي الصين ولا ما تأتي؟ طيب لو كانت الشمس
If the
الأرض
Earth
تدور
rotates
هكذا.
on the other direction,
لو تمشي الطيارة ما أدري كم
the
تمشي
plane
لن
would not be
تستطيع أن
able to
تلحق
reach
الصين لأن
China.
الصين تدور وأنت تدور ولن تستطيع أن تصل إلى الصين لأنك
because
تدور وأنت
China is
تدور.
also
فكيف
rotating as
تصل
the
إلى
plane
الصين؟
rotates.
So this cleric is called Sheikh al-Kabari. He also, Mark, just before you say anything, he also rejected NASA's lunar excursions as Hollywood puff. Okay. So, I mean, you're with him on that one, right?
No, not me, but this, not unlike a lot of
Skeptics.
Americans and Christian fundamentalists. So I'm just saying that he's not alone in the world.
So, he's, one from one. How do you feel about this second one, about
So
Earth being stationary? And
he's a pre-Copernicus. He's in a pre-Copernicus state of mind here.
correct.
But he's using airplanes to prove his theory.
Yeah.
See, if airplanes couldn't, if the
They
world
stopped moving.
the world was
It would catch
rotating.
up with it. Somehow we'd catch up with ourselves.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah, except it doesn't when you throw in that awful, awkward thing called science. Here's what the naked scientist from Cambridge University has to say on the matter. They say the atmosphere is moving with the surface of the Earth below it because there's friction. Remember friction? You continue to move with the surface of the Earth, so there's no difference flying with the rotation of the Earth or against
But
it.
you notice
Now,
how the scientist always comes in to explain the reason why their theory is correct. But the article we read last week was saying that the scientists would come up with big words or big scientific articles to deceive the people. People don't even know because it sounds deep, because you have a group of scientists or educators come together, then it must be scientific fact. When in actuality, none of it is actually scientific fact. It's not based upon any observable evidence. It's just based upon hypothesis, scientific theory, opinionated philosophy. That's all it is. Now, let's get the next one. Proof the sun rotates around the earth. Start from the beginning. What do you see? That's the sun. What is the sun doing? It hasteth. What is the sun doing? Read that again in Second Ezra chapter 1, First Ezra chapter 1, verse 4, verse 34. Play it again. No, keep playing it, actually. Play it. Read that again.
First Ezra chapter 4, verse 34. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth, high is the heaven. Swift is the sun in his course.
Swift is the what?
Sun in his course.
What is the sun doing? Swiftly going in its course. You see it? 12 hours a night, 12 hours a day. Swift is the sun in its course. Go on.
For he compasseth the heavens round about.
He compasseth. What is the sun doing, as you see in this video? It's compassing the heavens round about. It's orbiting the earth's axis. Go on.
And fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day.
And it fetches his course again in one day. Go on. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Now, get me heliocentric article of Copernicus. So to show you where this scientific theory came from. Nicholas Copernicus.
Nicholas Copernicus and the heliocentric model.
Mm-hmm.
on February 19, 1473.
That's why he says you're just going to just throw out 500 years of scientific theory. Because why? Because Nicholas Copernicus is the one that came up with the heliocentric model of the sun rotating, or the earth rotating around the sun's axis. Go on. Or orbiting around the sun's axis. Go on.
Renaissance mathematician and astronomer Nicholas Copernicus was born, who established the heliocentric model, which placed the sun, rather than the earth, at the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. With the publication of his research, he started the so-called Copernican Revolution.
Mm-hmm. The so-called Copernican Revolution. Go on.
Which started a paradigm shift away from the former Ptolemaic model of the heavens, which postulated the earth at the center of the universe, towards the heliocentric model with the sun at the center of our solar system.
Now, click on when it says Ptolemaic model. Ptolemaic model. Go to Ptolemaic model. All right, should be at the top. Click it again. Right there. At the top. Move the screen. Move our image from the screen. Yep. Read that.
Geocentric model. In astronomy, the geocentric model, also known as geocentrism or the Ptolemaic system, is a description of the cosmos where Earth is at the orbital center of all celestial bodies.
Read that again.
In astronomy, the geocentric model, also known as geocentrism or the Ptolemaic system, is a description of the cosmos where Earth is at the orbital center of all celestial bodies.
The Earth is at the orbital center of all celestial bodies. The Earth is the center of the universe. Go on.
This model served as the predominant cosmological system in many ancient civilizations, such as ancient Greece, including the noteworthy systems of Aristotle. See Aristotle in physics, and Ptolemy. As such, they assumed that the sun, moon, stars, and naked-eye planets circled Earth.
The sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets circle the Earth. Go on.
Where was I at? It was two commonly made observations supported the idea that Earth was the center of the universe. The first observation was that the stars, the sun, and planets appeared to revolve around Earth each day, making Earth the center of that system. Mm-hmm. Further, every star was on a stellar or celestial sphere, of which the Earth was the center that rotated each day, using a line through the North and South Pole as an axis. The stars closest to the equator appeared to rise and fall the greatest distance, but each star circled back to its rising point each day.
That's all I wanted. So the solar system, so you have the sun, the moon, and the stars rotate and circle the orbit, the Earth in a day. It orbits the Earth's atmosphere or axis within that day period, that time period. Now, can you get me the book?
Orthodox Geography. Just want the highlighted part, sir.
Yep, right there. Just the highlighted part. Yep.
There was an Orthodox Geography. There was an Orthodox geography at that period founded upon statements in the Jewish writings and by the fathers of the church. The earth was in the center of the universe, the sun and the moon and the stars humbly revolving around it. Mm-hmm. Jerusalem was in the precise center. Jerusalem was in the precise center of the earth.
So Jerusalem is the center of the earth. The earth is the center of the universe. Everything orbits around this earth. And Jerusalem is the center of the earth. The sun, the moon, the stars, the solar system, everything rotates and orbits around the earth. Now, let's go back to the heliocentric model. Scroll down. On the heliocentric, I mean. Go down. I'm not going to get too deep into the science. Like I said, I'm not a scientist, so I can't really explain in depth, the orbiting and the tilting. I don't know. Only thing I know is what they taught us, and it's very little. But the Bible says differently, so we're going to stick to what the Bible says. The Bible says the earth is the center of the universe. The Bible says Jerusalem is the mother of all. Jerusalem is the center of the universe. Everything rotates around the earth. Now, in 1543.
In 1543, Nicholas Copernicus published his treatise De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres, which presented a heliocentric model view of the universe. Overall, it took about 200 years for a heliocentric model to replace the Ptolemaic model. But Copernicus was not the first to propose a heliocentric model. Actually, even the ancient Greek philosophers argued about.
You know about scientists and philosophers are one of the same, how they put them all in the same category? Because a philosopher's job is to theorize or argue life's existence. Argue what is life, what is time, what is this. It's just like in Acts when it had the Epicureans. They argue life. They look for the new topic at hand. It's philosophy. It's based upon man's opinion or theory. It's not based upon any evidence or facts. Now, I'm not saying all science is not true. The science that disproves the Bible is false. That's what we're going to base it upon. That's nothing that doesn't have any observable evidence. That experiment wasn't conducted, and that you can't show us how you conduct the experiments, how these things came about. Only thing you could theorize it, and you model it based upon your theory, not model based upon what you're seeing or observing. Go, read.
Actually, even the ancient Greek philosophers argued about, as an example, Aristarchus of Samos in the 3rd century BCE, who had developed some theories of Heraclides, Ponticus speaking of a revolution by Earth on its axis to propose what was, so far as is known, the first serious model of a heliocentric solar system.
Now read that part right there.
Finally, we shall place the sun himself at the center of the universe.
Finally, we shall place the sun itself at the center of the universe. Why do they place the sun? Because they worship the sun god. That's why they place the sun at the center of the universe. The sun god, Ra, Nimrod. Christianity is based upon sun worship. So they place the sun at the center of the universe because that's the God that they worship. That's the God that governs their religion, that governs their faith. Go on.
All this is suggested by the systematic procession of events and the harmony of the whole universe. If only we face the facts, as they say, with both eyes open.
Now, where's the scientific evidence? Where's the astrologers? Where's the telescopes to see this? And that's how you know Esau's alive, because they're out there in space. They see the rotation of the sun. They see these things. They had the satellites. You think they don't know? You think they can't show us evidence? Now they got the actual scientific. They can actually go up there in space, the heavens. They can't document, record these things. Show us evidence. Show us proof that the earth is rotating around the sun. No, we didn't show you proof on it from a satellite that they won't televise, showing that the sun hastening within its path, orbiting around the earth in a 24-hour cycle, hastening in its way. Everybody knows that's why. The only reason why Islam is speaking on these things is because why? Islam is based upon the Bible. Islam based their religions and their wisdom off of the Bible. That's the only reason why Islam's the only other religion that speaks on these things.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.